Okay, let's invite a few people here. Hey, Hare Krishna. Good. I'm glad devotees are coming here. Oh, you know what I need? I need to get my microphone. Let's see. I'm looking for other use here. Use this one. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. Let me go down. Hey, can you send Connor up with my microphone, the double-headed one that's sitting on the table? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. I was going to just read these statements where Lord Chaitanya was ecstatic, and then I got another idea, and I might go with that, or maybe a little bit of both. So, um, what I wanted to share is, thank you. Great, awesome. Yeah, what I wanted to share is, I got this other idea now. There's a statement in Chaitanya Charitamrta. Actually, this is mentioned a lot. Actually, in Adi Lila chapter 7, verse 88, about the symptoms of ecstatic love. The translation: when one actually develops love of God. When one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries. See, naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, naturally, sometimes chants, sometimes runs here and there, just like a madman. Runs here and there is because there's so much spiritual energy because of love of God that it's like you're just forced to stand up and jump around sometimes. Nityananda used to hop around like a frog, stuff like that. Just a tremendous amount of spiritual bliss, very difficult for the body to handle, and that's the symptoms of love of God. So now I want to read the purport, and this is really interesting because it shows you kind of why so many devotees are cautious about this. Because Prabhupada did, and Bhaktisiddhanta, they cautioned. Because back then, especially, there were a lot of imitators. People were doing this. India is very poor, and people would imitate stuff just to because you get a job and get some name and fame and maybe money and stuff like that. But anyway, there is caution there, and then I'd like to discuss this. So this, I think, would be helpful for devotees to understand the difference between real symptoms of bhakti and the ones he's talking about here, the caution, okay? So in this connection, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, now see, the devotees, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, they're teaching, and myself included, we're all the devotees who are taking the position of spiritual master, if they're really inspired by the Lord, they're preaching according to the times, place, and circumstances. See, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, or 80 years ago, when Bhaktisiddhanta preaches, different time. See, and Prabhupada is a different time, and now is a different time. So preaching can change. Okay, so we gotta look at these changes and intelligently analyze stuff. Otherwise, you're just like a blind believer. You say, well, Prabhupada said this then, it was written in stone and all. But preaching, got to be intelligent to understand Krishna consciousness, that things evolve, things change, circumstances change. That's just how it is, okay? So in this connection, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami says that sometimes persons who have no love of Godhead at all, see, no love of Godhead at all, display ecstatic bodily symptoms. Artificially, see, artificially, they sometimes laugh, cry, dance, just like madmen, or they imitate. Okay? But this cannot help our progress in Krishna consciousness. I'm not talking negative about India. I don't know. There's something inside that you're picking it up. I don't know. Yeah. We're not, I'm not an American. I'm not a British person. You're not an Indian. You're not an American. We're actually truly spirit soul. So anytime stuff like that's coming up, it's just, that's part of the purification. It has to be. Because you're none of that. I'm none of that. We're just preaching truth, and sometimes truth steps on social conditioning, and it causes some kind of temporary pain. Anyway, I don't mean anything, about Indians per se. I'm just talking about the time when Prabhupada's talking. He comes from India. They were there in India preaching, and what people were doing. India was definitely known to be a poor place. A lot of poor people there, and I've seen it with myself. They'll do a lot of times when you're really poor, you'll do anything, imitate sadhus. I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. It goes on. It's what is done. They can't do that in the West. People are just, they've done it. They've done it. Anyway, I'm just going to move on. I'm sorry, but step on some toes. That's right. We're a spirit soul. You're not an Indian. I'm not American. We're a spirit soul. Okay? All right. So, but this cannot help one's progress in Krishna consciousness. Rather, such artificial agitation of the body. See, artificial agitation. That means you're doing something. You're putting on an act or a play. It's not spontaneous. It doesn't come from just chanting. Like, if you're artificially displaying something, it's not something that comes from chanting. See, obviously there is the real thing, otherwise why would the verse be there? See? If somebody is not engaged in the spontaneous devotion awakening, then in other words, there's some material motive for it. See? And then they're doing some kind of stuff. Okay? See, rather such artificial agitation of the body is to be given up when one naturally develops the necessarily body symptoms. Rather, such artificial agitation of the body is to be given up when one naturally develops that's kind of interesting, put like that. Actual blissful life manifested in genuine spiritual laughing. See? Actual blissful life manifested in genuine spiritual laughing, crying, and dancing is a symptom of real advancement in Krishna consciousness, which can be achieved by a person who always voluntarily engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And that's how it is with spontaneous devotee. That's why I do devotional service. That's why Dasud actually said, hey man, he was feeling down in the dumps and he just voluntarily engaged in devotional service by reading his book, Radharasa Sutta Nidhi, and all of a sudden these symptoms of devotion made it with this exquisite happiness started to manifest. See, that's advancement in Krishna consciousness. And that is the gift given here is you get the spirit, you get the taste for doing devotional service, the spirit of devotion. It's taste, it's taste for doing it. And then you volunteer. Have you noticed? I've been telling everybody when you get attracted, by association with a real guru who has taste, don't stop. Don't just get the spirit and then don't do devotional service. You got to voluntarily engage in that, and that's why I encourage devotees to continue doing, once you get the taste and everything, don't just sit on your fanny and do nothing. And then, no, when you get the taste and you get the inspiration, then you start engaging, start getting up and reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat, so giving a class or something. coming to classes, coming to our sadhu sanghas, hearing, see, going on Sankirtan. Because if you don't voluntarily engage, you won't make progress any beyond that. You can get awakened, but it's like what Jesus talked about, those who depart from me become like a branch outstretched with no life. So departing from God, especially once one gets this taste by associating with a real devotee who has taste and the ecstatic connection, is departing from them is not engaging in hearing, chanting, and remembering about Krishna. You know, you just get back into the worldly things and just so tied up in doing this and that, and you don't engage voluntarily in devotional service, and therefore you dry up. Okay? So that you don't want. And this is what it was talking about in chapter 4 of the Adi Lila, where when one hears about the devotional service of the residents of Vrindavan, or especially the qualities of Lord Chaitanya, see, we must do that, and then you become attracted. Then Lord Chaitanya taught in chapter 4 that it is imperative that you continue serving the Lord in that way. You continue hearing from the devotees. You continue chanting these verses, engaging in this service. Because if you neglect it, the Maya just rolls in and you're checked in devotional service. Or if you go against Guru or something like that, which happens, sometimes people get this bhakti and then they get all haughty. They're like, oh, I'm equal, or you get the puta. So anyway, that has to be worked out too. Okay? See, so we've got good fortune that this devotional service is being given so easily and freely, yet you have to continue to engage in it. Just like, devotees are doing Yamuna and Johan and Lalita for a while, and then we got problems with that there going on. We got Meena, who else is that? Fani and his wife, Noodles, and that's why you got to keep engaging. You got, like, even let's take Noodles. Noodles has taste now. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. She even said, I didn't like my chanting, and then she just a little associated. Now she likes her chanting. That means you must engage. You got to get up there, and you got to overcome this shyness. It's so easy. All you have to do is you just start doing it. You get up there and you start talking about Krishna, maybe doing a reading or something, and in this way you're hearing and chanting yourself and also benefiting others. This is Haridas Thakur talked about this. He said chanting alone is very good, but better than that is to chant out loud so that other people hear and benefit also. And chanting is not just a name, but also sharing your revelation and realizations in your advancement in Krishna consciousness. And also chanting these verses, especially the verses in the books. Okay? And in this way you feel more enlivened and you enliven others. That's Krishna consciousness. That's the path. That's the religion of the age, is to remember Krishna and to remind others. See, that was the order I got. I just continued doing that. So I'm paying it forward and teaching that to others. So you continually did do that, and also help this mission, of spontaneous bhakti being distributed, awakened, and promoted. See? So we got that. Now, so see, always this, I'll read this again, it's so important. This actual blissful life, manifested in genuine spiritual laughing, crying, dancing, is a symptom of real advancement in Krishna consciousness, which can be achieved by a person who is always voluntarily engages in transcendental loving service of the Lord. And you see, that's what you get here. You got the opportunity, you can hear a lot. See, always means regularly, consistently. Not just, some people, they come once, maybe a week, or once every 2 weeks. What is this kind of engagement? In Sadhu Sangha, you come, always. You come regularly. If you want this, do you want ecstatic love? Well, the opportunity is here. Ecstatic devotees are here. Yeah? You want this? Well, hey man, it's available. But how much do you want it? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, you got to keep drinking. See, regularly, consistently engaging voluntarily in devotional service. And very quickly, spontaneous symptoms are awakening in devotees who do that. Provided you watch, you got to watch out for the offenses. Sometimes the offenses come up, offenses to Guru. It's unfortunate, but you can do everything right, and then the offenses to Guru come up, and all of a sudden you wonder, well, what happened to that person? Well, if anybody's not here, it's Guru Aparad. That does, that's doing good and getting bhakti and everything. So there's some kind of aparad needs to be worked out. Okay? I've seen it. It's happened quite a few times already. And it has to be worked out. Doesn't matter how consistent you are. You got to have your relationship with Guru straightened out, man. Just the way it is. It's the way it's taught in the books here. Because if you don't straighten it out, if it's not clear, and you're not submissive and surrendered to Guru and Krishna, both, then you're going to have problems, and that shows up in just problems of disappearing and going away. Okay. Now, if one who is not yet developed, so if you don't have real symptoms, if one is not yet developed these symptoms, imitates such symptoms artificially, see, he creates chaos in the spiritual life of human society. Okay? I'll read that again. If one is not yet developed, imitates such symptoms artificially. See? Now, Prabhupada just happened to come to me. I was ecstatic just naturally. I didn't even think about these things or anything. For many, many years, 17 years or so, I was engaged in ecstatic devotional service before that. And Prabhupada comes, when people started to come spontaneously, and I started to give a class, talk about this stuff, and people were getting ecstatic naturally also. He said, this has my full approval. You're doing exactly what I want you to do. You do more of that. See? He's cautioning people that are artificially doing. He told me personally that and confirmed personally that this is real. Okay? And now the question you might say, well, that was just a dream and all that. Okay, fine. So the way we know if what I'm promoting and teaching was like creating chaos in the spiritual life of human society, well, look at how many people are saying very good. Look at people that are actually getting enlivened by this bhakti. It's transforming their lives. It's not creating chaos in their lives. Okay? So if it was artificial, all it does is create, crazy things. But this is working so nicely. People are getting shelter. They're advancing. They're even getting up and making testimonies. That's how you know. If a person gets up and says, yeah, I'm following this path of Gaura Hari Das. He's ecstatic. I'm becoming ecstatic. And man, I'm getting revelations every day and all that. Is that chaotic? Is that a disturbance? Or is that actually an enhancement in one's life? See, Meena can say, hey, is this creating chaos? And see, you can ask yourself, is Gaura Hari in that other category creating chaos in people's lives? See, so that's what a witness is. And that's why Jesus talked about this. He said, I'm the true vine. So if a true vine means a true branch to the Chaitanya tree. If I was not a true branch, people like Meena and so many others would say, hey man, you may not even have all the ecstatic symptoms. You say, but I feel inspired. I feel like I'm progressive. I'm moving deeper. You know, I'm not becoming chaotic or getting crazy. I've met so many Vaishnavas, you know, there are many that commit suicide. There's one that left here that just committed suicide. But he wouldn't take to the path. I tried to help him and everything, but he wanted to do it his own way and everything. He just had to go. See? Yeah, there's that. And those are the persons. He was imitating the symptoms and everything and wanted to do what I wanted to do prematurely or what I was doing. He wanted to take the energy and do that, and he ends up creating chaos in his own life, and boom. See? All because he wouldn't listen to me. I just tried to, ask Dasud about, whatever I say is inspired, The Lord inspired me to say this, say that, do this, And it works out. So that's called witnessing. You witness, I listened to Gaurahari and this is what happened. Okay? So many people don't have a witness yet in Vaishnavism, Krishna consciousness. They can't stand up and say anything. They're just kind of blindly believing stuff and just going through the motions. But there's so many people who have a witness here. Fani and his wife can say, hey man, I overcame guilt. Oh, I had an ecstatic emotion awaken. I got some taste coming. See, that's a witness. It's not creating chaos in their life. It's helping them progress. You see how you have to be intelligent to understand these things? Because, on one hand, the verse says, when one develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, laughs, and everything. And then you got the acharyas cautioning. But you know what people do? They react with the caution and already automatically assume in Vaishnavism, oh, no, that's not real because Prabhupada cautioned. Let's go with the negative. Let's go with that it isn't real. See? That's why we got to talk about it and discuss it and point it out. Get clear about it. Yeah, Prabhupada's caution, but obviously there's the real thing. He's talking about it in the verse. Yeah. So, anyway, I thought that was interesting. So anyway, I wanted to point that out. Then now, we got this thing that Lord Chaitanya didn't exhibit ecstatic emotions 500 years ago in public, which is nonsense. It's the most ridiculous thing to say. Of course, there were some instances when he didn't. But no, it's not that he didn't do it. And so I'm going to read some verses. Of course, you can find verses where he did, and that's what people focus on, but they don't focus on where he showed these symptoms, and that's how people got it. He publicly, I'm sure, there were thousands of people sometimes seeing him in ecstasy and following and developing the ecstasy because they wanted it and were favorable to it. Yeah. Okay, so let me read some verses here. So, this is Madhya Lila, chapter 17, verse number 157. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted and danced and made loud vibrations, see, ecstatic symptoms, all the people were astonished to see ecstatic love. So what are you seeing in ecstatic love? You're seeing some uncommon symptoms of ecstatic love. They were astonished. Isn't it astonishing to see ecstatic devotional symptoms? Caused by one relishing their relationship with the Lord, intimacy with God. They were astonished. Next verse. One Brahmana fell at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and then began to dance with him in ecstatic love. That's all that was required with Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, was to fall down at their feet. That means you're submissive to the bhakti, you're accepting the path of ecstatic love, see? And they also accepted the instruction of the Lord and the opinion of the Lord and let go of their others. See? So they would fall down. See? And same thing here. People, if they just fall down in a sense, see, fall down means I'm submissive to the teaching of Gaur Hari Das here. I believe that this is real, this is true, is ecstatic devotion. See, and I can't force anybody to do it. If somehow or other people become convinced by hearing and hearing and hearing, coming to the classes, seeing, hearing testimonies, all of this goes to develop faith, see, in people, and then the heart becomes submissive and surrendered. And boom, you begin to get this ecstatic devotion. See, because then I trust it, I want it. See? Next verse. The two of them danced in ecstatic love and embraced each other. Raising their arms, they said, "Chant the holy names of Hari and Krishna." All the people then began to chant, "Hari, Hari," and there was a great uproar. The priest in Lord Keshava's service offered Lord Chaitanya a garland. Okay, so you see, this was in public. Okay, that's just some of them. So Chaitanya Charitamrta, Madhya Lila, chapter 9, verse 87, starting. Okay, while there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his bath in the river Kaveri and visited the temple of Sri Ranga. Every day the Lord also danced in ecstasy. Well, what does that mean? Danced in ecstasy. See? That means ecstasy, ecstatic love, and that means symptoms, man. So the next verse, the beauty of Lord Chaitanya's body and his ecstatic love of God. See? His beauty of his body and his ecstatic love of God were witnessed by everyone. See? Everyone witnessed the ecstatic love of God. Well, what does that mean, witnessing? That means symptoms, man. If you have ecstatic love of God, you're going to have symptoms. He's dancing in ecstasy, tears are coming, all of these things are manifesting. Many people used to come and see him. Soon as they saw him, all their unhappiness and distress vanished. They came and saw him in what? Ecstasy. Saw him in ecstatic mood. See? And that's the secret, man. When you see devotees in bliss and ecstasy, all your unhappiness and lamentation vanish and you make spontaneous advancement. That's called darshan, man. See, darshan is seeing the devotee communing with God. See? That's darshan. It's very powerful. See? Just to see this, and that's why people who are not purified in heart, they get angry, brings up stuff first. They pay their obeisances by condemning it. See? And then they actually fall down. They're forced to fall down, and that's their obeisance. They fall down, but it's like you're forced to fall down, and that feeling, that suffering you get is the purification. See, the Lord's bodily feature, Madhya Lila 9:41, the Lord's bodily features were very beautiful. In addition, he was always in the ecstasy of love of God. Simply by seeing him, everyone began chanting the holy name of Krishna, and thus everyone became a Vaishnava devotee. See, they became attracted to this kind of ecstasy. Okay? They want to follow the path of Raghunuga Bhakti spontaneously because they see a devotee in the ecstasy of love of God. Okay? That's what we're preaching here. Okay? Seeing the ecstasy and wanting to follow the path of Raghunuga Bhakti. That instills faith in this path. It's not for everybody, because people, they're still paying their obeisances by doing the condemnation snake pose, you know. Let me bite Gohari Das for showing God. That's what the potency does. God is this ecstatic bliss. God is not only God, God is manifest in the devotee relating intimately with the Lord. Then you can begin to see who Krishna is. Krishna is bliss. Krishna is ecstatic. Krishna is devotional rapture. That's God, man. That's why it's so powerful here. Because people are seeing that. That's why some people are delighted, man, and they feel all their lamentation go. Sometimes people hate that and they become more in a lamentable position, more angry, and all this stuff is coming out of them. Well, thanks for appreciating, Nina. Yeah, see, what is a real, see, Manini Dasi. See, Manini Dasi. She says, and will become a real Vaishnava devotee. See, what is a real Vaishnava devotee? Think about that. What is a real Vaishnava devotee? See? What is an Abbas Vaishnava devotee? An Abbas means a semblance. Abbas means beginner. Abbas means a devotee in name only. You know what a devotee in name only? They say, I'm a Krishna devotee. I'm worshiping Krishna. I believe in Krishna. I believe in Krishna. That's a beginner, neophyte. Then they see a real devotee. What is a real devotee? They're chanting Hare Krishna and they are blissed out, man. They are ecstatic chanting the Lord's name. Okay? Oh, his pastimes, it causes their voice to choke up in tears and laughing sometimes and crying and all that. That's a real devotee. See? And we've already discerned the real devotees getting ecstatic symptoms or liking his ecstatic emotional state and listening to his teachings and all of that. A fallen idiot like me, foolish person like me, has got the highest thing of attraction to Radharani in the Manjari state. Now, isn't that a miracle? Now, is that a disturbance in society, or is that actual, miracle? Something that, one would die for. And not only him, but so many. Look at Johan, look at Lalita, look at others. Yamuna, on and on. So many coming now. Well, look, 14 people listening. That's just one shift. A lot of them have been here 3 times already, and many of them come 7 days a week. Who would go to the temple or church 7 days a week unless this is real devotional service and real devotees are here worshiping, like the verse says, who regularly and consistently and constantly engage voluntarily in devotional service? Can anybody see how ridiculous it is to think that this is sahaja? This is the most, the person will just have to sometime admit that they are one stupid person. They cannot even analyze logically. See, that's why you got to get the mercy of the Lord, and that comes through the preaching of a devotee. You have to just say, man, I was wrong. It's like Peter did, man. Peter he was laughing at Jesus and criticizing and everything, but he said, he got the mercy because Jesus was there. He preached. He saw the miracles. He saw people change, and he said, I'm just a stupid person. And he started crying. That's the awakening. So, Yeah, so here's some other. So anyway, I just did a search on the. What's really nice is the. We have the database, and they do a search over all the books in Chaitanya Charitamrta verses, and so I just put laughing and crying in, laughs and cries. So let's see. And here's Lord Chaitanya says, so while chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing like a madman. See? Not caring for outsiders. You know that there's this verse. I laugh, dance, and sing, not caring for outsiders. Okay. See, so that means, there might be people be around. See? People might be around and still you're doing it. See? So that, I remember reading a verse. I forgot exactly where it was, but I remember reading a verse, and these two devotees, they were discussing amongst themselves, and they were talking about Lord Chaitanya. They said, we don't care about what people think, man. We're going to just continue chanting this name together, in congregation, and laugh and cry and everything. We don't care what people think or anything. I mean, people were like that. It's the prerogative of the devotees if they want to share this mantra with everybody. And how are you going to really inspire people? See, I mean, it's like, if this is going to be preached, if ecstatic devotion is going to be preached, you got to see that, hey, do you want to hang around that devotee? Because they're ecstatic devotees. You want to get close to them. Okay? So that's what preaching ecstatic devotional service is it's like people the message goes out, are you interested in this? Do you want this way of worship? Here, we'll teach you about it, how wonderful it is and all that. See? And then people can come or not come. Okay, another verse. Mm-hmm. I wonder where this one is here. Previous. Let's see what the previous verse is here. Okay, this is in Chaitanya Charitamrta, chapter 16. The Muslim spy saw the wonderful characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when he returned to the Muslim governor, he told him, a mendicant has come from Jagannath Puri with many liberated persons. So Johan says, yes, without Srila Gaura Haridas Maharaj, life is empty. And what is our life? What is my life? My life is empty also, unless I voluntarily engage in devotional service and feel intimacy and closeness with the Lord. So that's all I'm teaching everybody. And that's what Dasud is learning here today. He realized, hey man, it's intimacy and closeness with the Lord that's going to make me happy. And that I do by engaging in devotional service. Mani says, when I go to the temple, always I thought about you all. Oh, great. And I cried. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So this is the Muslim spy is saying this to the Muslim king. All these saintly people incessantly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and they all laugh, cry, dance, and chant. You see, the Lord came with his liberated associates. And what are they doing? In the public, man. Can you see this? In the public, all these saintly people incessantly chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and they all laugh in public. The spy is looking at these people. See, they all laugh, dance and chant and cry, and that was their preaching. Look at this way of worshiping God. Instead of, look at this, man. Let's have a party. Come associate with us. See, that's how you get this potency. Otherwise, you associate with the awe and reverence. They're chanting and jumping up and down artificially, well, as a sadhana, as a practice. But then they see the ecstatic devotees, they run away. The real devotees were like this. They were chanting and in sincere ecstatic love, and it was attracting people. That was their message, was themselves, their worship publicly like that. See? These saintly people incessantly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and they all laugh, dance, chant, and cry. See? Publicly. That's where the spy went, where there were thousands of people. If you read this thing, let's see. Many millions upon millions of people came to see this. And after they see him, they cannot return home. That's how wonderful this devotional service is. Isn't that what happened here? Isn't that what's happening to many of you guys out there? You cannot return to home. What does home mean? It means back to the material world. I mean, you go home, the kids are there and everything, but are you really there? Not really. Your body is there, but your mind is in Krishna consciousness. Your mind is in devotional service, being around ecstatic devotees. Karuna, can you bring me my plug for my computer? It's right there. Just plop it up and bring it up here quick before I lose this thing here. Thank you. See? This is the attractiveness of ecstatic devotional service. It's so powerful. Your body may be with your family and friends and everything, but your consciousness is in the life. The real life is this devotional service, man. Being around devotees. Now it's so easy. We go right. You can take your camera with you, and you can be in your motorhome. You can be in your house. And associate with devotees here. Look, we got 13 people, 14 people, 15 people. Here, and you can message them, you can talk to them. We have a nice devotee community. We're just starting here. You don't think this is going to be big? Of course it's going to be big. If Krishna's really around and he's preaching like this, and the order of Prabhupada came in the disciplic line, the blessing of Krishna, it's going to be big, of course. It's going to be powerful. It's going to revolutionize Vaishnavism. Hey man, it's time. Krishna is saying, the Parampara is saying, it's time to give the good news to the Vaishnavas, right?
Right.
We're it, man. We're the good news here, man. So everybody pitch in and let's just get this thing. The show on the road. Yeah, don't worry. Just let it hang. Let it hang, man. Yeah. See, many millions of people came to see this ecstatic devotional service. See, you know why? It was powerful then, because it was the time when the Lord, many people were incarnating at that time. Just for that. See? And also the Lord came, he had so many associates. There's a big band. Can you imagine? Not just having one or two or three ecstatic devotees, but many. They are laughing and dancing, and the Lord is there and everything. It's a big show, man. It's a big factory of liberating many millions of souls. Yeah, And so, yeah, you just hold on, and people going to get more and more ecstatic here. The more ecstatic people get, look at Johann, man, doing his chanting, man. People are looking. That inspires people. They look at that, man, that guy's enjoying chant. Look at it, he's so ecstatic and everything. I think I want to worship God like that. See, he's teaching Raganuga Bhakti by example. You cannot teach this except if you're engaging voluntarily in devotional service. See, if Dasu didn't get on the thing today and give his little class, I mean, that was so inspiring. I would listen to him. I was inspired, man. Many nice things came. He was feeling good. We were feeling good. See, voluntarily engaged. See? Right. Same thing, people can start coming here. Come here also, coming personally interact with the devotees. It's powerful. Sometimes you might have problems, but maybe, but that's part of working them out. All these people become like madmen. They simply chant the holy name of Krishna and dance. Sometimes they even cry and roll on the ground. Actually, these things cannot be described. One can understand them only by seeing. Considering his influence, I accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's happening, in Sankirtan, you'll see more, when devotees they'll start coming more. We'll go on Sankirtan together. It gets really inspiring. Everybody, you just get more and more juiced up, and then the material world goes far away. Maya becomes overcome, and people start overcoming Maya spontaneously. You'll see, man. We're just beginning here. The Maya is just so strong, man, and just, people got to work out their little issues and stuff. But as we get more like truly a devotional family, solidified in serving Lord Chaitanya's mission here in the Parampara, and that, you see, that our family is based on that and not on this blood thing. This blood thing, as a matter of fact, if the blood relatives are not favorable to everything, you just let them squawk and everything. But hey, man, this is the priority. This is the real family. This will endure forever. When you pass from the body here and you're a devotee, you will see everybody here. In the next life. See, your family you'll probably not see unless they're devotees. But here, you make them. I'm just, in general, people don't see their family. But everybody here, you become a devotee here, this is eternal, man. The bodies of devotees, when you realize Krishna, those bodies become remembered by Krishna and the devotees. That's why Prabhupada's body is remembered. It's not one that just disappears. See, his body, Krishna likes to see that body where the last life or somebody has attained Krishna consciousness. This is the real family, that's right. See, this is eternal. Why? Because we're worshiping Krishna in ecstasy. That's eternal, man. Krishna says, hey, man, Krishna's eternal. The devotees are, Krishna's devotees are eternal. See? Krishna's devotees are ecstatic worshippers of Krishna, and the devotees of those devotees are also eternal. See? Okay, I think I have to stop here. I gotta stop here a little bit. Stop talking. Yeah, take a walk. I need to take a walk. Boy, we got so many. There are 13 people here. Hey, if anybody else wants to read or something, does anybody, Yamuna, do you want to read something? Or Yeah, that happens. Yeah, 21 generations. I'm just saying, say a person is not a devotee, then their family and everything is just lost. Yeah, you see, I voluntarily engage in devotional service, and see, inspires me, inspires other people. Yeah, see how it works? Like that. It's natural. Plus, we learn something, how to overcome some of these things. Yeah. So does anybody want to read here on my, you can read on my, do you want to read River Yamuna? Matter of fact, I'm going to go down and ask her, see maybe she wants to read here. You want to read something? You can read whatever you want. Maybe read Bhagavatam. I don't know, read something. Okay, so she's going to come up and take over and read. And we've got 13 people here, so people, you can stay and listen a little bit. I need to move around a little bit here. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, everybody. You want some Chaitanya book here?
No, I want to read Nectar of Devotion.
Nectar of Devotion.
I think it's chapter 17, Ecstatic, look.
Yeah, now you got to be careful because Prabhupada throws in a lot of Vaidhi Bhakti stuff. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And they'll get confusing. We should read that together. What else you want to read? Yeah, now you got to be careful because Prabhupada throws in a lot of Vaidhi Bhakti stuff. You can read off your head. Just read it. And they'll get confusing. We should read that together. What else? Can I just do this? Okay, so read anything. I mean, there's so many books you can read here. You can read right on my computer. It's right here. Just sit down right there. It's all ready. You got books. You want Chaitanya Charitamrta? What other book?
Krishna book.
Krishna book? Okay, I'll get it for you up there.
I can look through them, go on.
Okay, you know how to do that? Okay,
Yes.
great. There you go.
Oh, this chair's really low.
Huh?
This chair's really low. It's alright.
Yeah, you'll do it.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Till tomorrow. Don't know anything. Does anybody have a suggestion of what they would like me to read? I have an idea, but I'm just looking through the books. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Janaki, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Manini Dasi, Hare Krishna, Haribo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Tomorrow at 6:30, yours time. Okay, I don't know what that means, Johan. What are you talking about? Books. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. How about Chaitanya's funny pastime? Can you tell me, Barney, can you tell me what chapter that is? Okay, Johan, can you tell me what chapter that is? Yeah, I'd like to read that, that would be good. Yes, Barney, tell me what chapter and which book and chapter, and I'll read it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Barney, are you there? Otherwise, I'm just going to choose something. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. Okay, I'm gonna pick any childhood pastime. Okay, yeah, tomorrow I go live, so 60 on your voice. Right, yes, I should be up. Johan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Yes, got it. So I'm gonna do okay, Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes, the Lord's Gana Lila, Bhaganda Lila. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm going to go to Adi Lila chapter 14, the Lord's pastimes. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Shri Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vindra. So chapter 14, verse 1. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna. That's good. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. I have thus described in brief the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared as the son of Mother Sachi, exactly as Krishna appeared as the son of Mother Yashoda. I have already briefly spoken about the pastimes of his birth in chronological order. Now I shall give a synopsis of his childhood pastimes. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the childhood pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself. Although such pastimes appear exactly like those of an ordinary child, they should be understood as various pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In his first childhood pastimes, the Lord turned upside down while lying on his bed, and thus he showed his parents the mark of his lotus feet. When the Lord tried to walk in his small footprints, the specific mark of Lord Vishnu was visible, namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. Seeing all these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus, struck with wonder, they could not understand how those marks could be possible in their home. Jagannath Mishra said, "Certainly, child Krishna is within the Salagram Shila. Taking his childhood form, he is playing within the room." While Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra were talking, Child Nimai woke up and began to cry, and Mother Sachi took him on her lap and allowed him to suck her breasts. While Mother Sachi was feeding the child from her breast, she saw on his lotus feet all the marks that were visible on the floor of the room, and she called for Jagannath Mishra. When Jagannath Mishra saw the wonderful marks on the soul of his son, he became very joyful and privately called for Nilambara Chakravarti. When Nilambara Chakravarti saw those marks, he smilingly said, "Formerly I ascertained all this by astrological calculation and noted it in writing. There are 32 bodily marks that symptomize a great personality, and I see all those marks on the body of this child. There are 32 bodily symptoms of a great personality. 5 of his bodily parts are large, 5 fine, 7 reddish, 6 raised, 3 small, 3 bound, and 3 broad and 3 grave. This baby has all the symptoms of Lord Narayan on his palms and soles. He will be able to deliver all the 3 worlds." Hare Krishna Janaki. This child will preach the Vaishnava cult and deliver both his material and parental families. I propose to perform a name-giving ceremony. We should observe a festival and call for the Brahmanas, because today is very auspicious. In the future, this child will protect and maintain all the worlds. For this reason, he is to be called Vishvambara. After hearing Nilambara Chakravarti's prediction, Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra observed the name-giving festival in great joy, inviting all the Brahmanas and their wives. After some days, the Lord began to crawl on his knees, and he caused various wonderful things to be seen. Hare Krishna, Michael. The Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy names of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on the plea of his crying, and while they chanted, the Lord would smile. After some days, the Lord began to move his legs and walk. He mixed with other children and exhibited various sports. One day, while the Lord was enjoying his playful sports with the other little children, Mother Sachi bought a dish filled with fused rice and sweetmeats and asked the child to sit down and eat them. But when she returned to her household duties, the child hid from his mother and began to eat dirt. Seeing this, Mother Sachi hastily returned and exclaimed, "What is this? What is this?" She snatched the dirt from the hands of the Lord and inquired why he was eating it. Crying, the child inquired from his mother, "Why are you angry? You have already given me dirt to eat. What is my fault? Fused rice, sweetmeats, and all other eatables are but transformations of dirt. This is dirt. That is dirt. Please consider what is the difference between them. This body is a transformation of dirt, and the eatables are also a transformation of dirt. Please reflect upon this. You are blaming me without consideration. What can I say?" Wow, he was so little and he was so knowledgeable. Astonished that the child was speaking Mayavadi philosophy, Mother Sachi replied, "Who has taught you this philosophical speculation that justifies eating dirt?" You listening, Karuna? Eating dirt. Replying to the Madhavadi idea of child philosopher, Mother Sachi said, "My dear boy, if we can eat earth transformed into grain, our body is nourished and it becomes strong. But if we eat dirt in its crude state, the body becomes diseased instead of nourished and thus is destroyed. In a water pot, which is a transformation of dirt, I can bring water very easily. But if I pour water on a lump of dirt, the lump would soak up the water and my labor would be useless. Certainly. The Lord replied to his mother, "Why did you conceal your self-realization by not teaching me this practical philosophy in the beginning?" Yes, that's true. It's true, Freddie. The Lord replied to his mother, I'll read that again. The Lord replied to his mother, "Why did you conceal self-realization by not teaching me this practical philosophy in the beginning? Now that I can understand this philosophy, no more shall I eat dirt. Whenever I am hungry, I shall suck your breast and drink your breast milk." After saying this, the Lord, smiling slightly, climbed on the lap of his mother and sucked her breast. Thus, under various excuses, the Lord exhibited his opulences as much as possible in his childhood, and later, after exhibiting such opulences, he hid himself. On one occasion, the Lord ate the food of a Brahmana guest 3 times, and later, in confidence, the Lord delivered that Brahmana for material engagement. In his childhood, the Lord was taken away by 2 thieves outside his home. The Lord, however, got up on the shoulders of the thieves, and while they were thinking they were safely carrying the child to rob his ornaments, the Lord misled them, and thus, instead of going to their own homes, the thieves came back to their home of Jagannath Mishra. Read that again. In his childhood, the Lord was taken away by 2 thieves outside his home. The Lord, however, got up on the shoulders of the thieves, and while they were thinking they were safely carrying the child to rob his ornaments, the Lord misled them, and thus, instead of going to their own homes, the thieves came back to the home of Jagannath Mishra. Pretending to be sick, the Lord asked for some food from the home of Haranya and Gadadesh on Ekadashi day. As usual, for some children, he learnt to play with his playmates. He went to the house of a neighbouring friend, stealing their eatables and eating them. Sometimes the children fought amongst themselves. All the children lodged complaints with Sachimata about the Lord's fighting with them and stealing from the neighbours' houses. Therefore, sometimes she used to chastise or rebuke her son. Rebuke. Hare Krishna, Madhu. You're right, Barney. Sachimata said, "Why do you steal others' things?" They're not others' things, they're his things. So he's not really stealing. Sachimata said, "Why do you steal others' things? Why do you beat the other children? And why do you go inside others' houses? What do you not have in your own house?" His mother, the Lord, would go. Thus rebuked by his mother, Lord, would go into anger, and this don't make sense. Thus rebuked by his mother, Lord, would go in anger to his room and break all the pots within it. Then Sachimata would take her son on her lap and pacify him, and the Lord would be very much ashamed, admitting his faults. Once the child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chastised his mother with his soft hand, and his mother pretended to faint. Seeing this, the Lord began to cry. The neighbouring ladies told him, "Dear child, please bring a coconut from somewhere, and then your mother will be cured." He then went outside the house and immediately bought 2 coconuts. All the ladies were astonished to see such wonderful activities. Sometimes the Lord would go with other children to bathe in the Ganga, and the neighbouring girls would also come there to worship various demigods. When the girls engaged in worship worshipping the different demigods. After bathing in the Ganga, the young lord would come there and sit down among them. Addressing the girls, the Lord would say, "Worship me, I shall give you good husband or good benedictions. The Ganga and the goddess Durga are my maidservants. What to speak of other demigods? Even Lord Shiva is my servant." Without the permission of the girls, the Lord would take the sandalwood pulp and smear it on his own body, put the flower garlands on his neck, and snatch and eat all the offerings of sweetmeat, rice, and bananas. All the girls became very angry at the Lord for this behavior. "Dear Nimai," they told him, "you are just like our brother in our village relationship. Therefore it does not behoove you to act like this. Don't take our paraphernalia for worship of the demigods. Don't create a disturbance in this way." The Lord replied, "My dear sisters, I gave you the benediction that your husbands will be very handsome. They will be learnt, clever and young, and possess abundant wealth and rice. Not only that, but you will each have 7 sons who will all live long lives and be very intelligent." Hearing this benediction from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the girls were inwardly very happy, but externally, as is natural for girls, they rebuked the Lord under the pretense of anger. When some of the girls fled, the Lord called them in anger and advised them as follows: "If you are miserly and do not give me the offerings, every one of you will have an old husband with at least 4 co-wives." Hearing this supposed curse by Lord Chaitanya, the girls, considering that he might know something uncommon or be empowered by demigods, were afraid that his curse might be effective. The girls then brought the offerings before the Lord, who ate them all and blessed the girls to their satisfaction. When this cunning behavior of the Lord with the girls became known to the people in general, it did not create misunderstandings among them. Rather, they enjoyed happiness in these dealings. One day, a girl of the name Lakshmi, the daughter of Vallabhacharya, came to the bank of the Ganga to take bath in the river and worship the demigods. Seeing Lakshmi Devi, the Lord became attracted to her, and Lakshmi, upon seeing the Lord, felt great satisfaction within her mind. Their natural love for each other awakened, and although it was covered by childhood emotions, it became apparent that they were mutually attracted. They both enjoyed natural pleasure in seeing each other, and under the pretext of demigod worship, they manifested their feelings. The Lord told Lakshmi, "Just worship me, for I am the Supreme Lord. If you worship me, certainly you will get the benediction you desire." On hearing the order of the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lakshmi immediately worshipped him, offering sandalwood paste and flowers for his body, garlanding him with mallika flowers, and offering prayers. Yes, Bani. 1468. Being worshipped by Lakshmi, the Lord began to smile. He recited a verse from Simrad Bhagavatam and thus accepted the emotion she expressed. "My dear gopis, I accept your desire to have me as your husband and thus worship me. I wish your desires to be fulfilled because it deserves to be so." After thus expressing their feelings to each other, Lord Chaitanya and Lakshmi returned home. Who can understand the grave pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? When the neighbouring people saw the naughty behaviour of Lord Chaitanya, out of love for him, they lodged complaints with Satyamata and Jagannath Mishra. One day, Mother Sachi went to catch her son, wanting to rebuke him, but he fled from the spot. Although he is the maintainer of the entire universe, once the Lord sat upon some rejected pots in the pit where the remnants of food were thrown, after the pots had been used for cooking. I'm just going to read that one again. Although he is the maintainer of the entire universe, once the Lord sat upon some rejected pots in the pit where the remnants of food were thrown, after the pots had been used for cooking. When Mother Sachi saw her boy sitting on the rejected pots, she protested, "Why have you touched these untouchable pots? You have now become impure. Go and bathe in the Ganga." I'm not, that verse, I think it's about the Lord going and being with all people who are the lowest of people, who are classed as really bad and diseased, because they're all, and purifying them all. Meat eaters, everyone, purifying them all. And Mother Sachi is telling him to go and bathe in the Ganga, and he's actually going to purify all these people. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his mother about absolute knowledge. Although amazed by this, his mother forced him to take a bath. Sometimes, taking her son with her, Sachi Mata would lie down on her bed, and she would see that denizes of the celestial world had come there, filling the entire house. Again, Hare Krishna Meena Mataji. Sometimes, taking her son with her, Mother Sachi would lie down on her bed, and she would see the denizes of the celestial world had come there, filling the entire house. Once Mother Sachi told the Lord, "Please go call your father." Receiving this order from his mother, the Lord went out to call him. When the Lord was going out, there was a tinkling of ankle bells from his lotus feet. Hearing this, his father and mother were struck with wonder. Jagannath Mishra said, "This is a very wonderful incident. Why is there a sound of ankle bells from the bare feet of my child?" Mother Sachi said, "I also saw another wonder. People were coming down from the celestial kingdom and crowding the entire courtyard. They made noisy sounds I could not understand. I guess they were offering prayers to someone." Jagannath Mishra replied, "Never mind what it is. There is no need to worry. Let there always be good fortune for Vishnubhara. This is all I want." On another occasion, Jagannath Mishra, seeing the mischievous acts of his son, gave him lessons in morality after rebuking him greatly. On that very night, Jagannath Mishra dreamt that a Brahmana had come before him, speaking these words in anger. "My dear Mishra, you do not know anything about your son. You think him your son, and therefore you rebuke and chastise him." Jagannath Mishra replied, "This boy may be a demigod, a mystic yogi, or a great saintly person. It doesn't matter what he is, for I think he is only my son. It is the duty of a father to educate his son in both religion and morality. If I do not give him this education, how will he know of it?" The Brahmana replied, "If your son is a transcendental mystic boy with self-effulgent, perfect knowledge, what is the use of your education?" I'm going to say that one again. The Brahmana replied, "If your son is a transcendental mystic boy with self-effulgent, perfect knowledge, what is the use of your education?" None. Jagannath Mishra replied, Even if my son is not a common man, but Narayan, still it is the duty of a father to instruct his son." In this way, Jagannath Mishra and the Brahmanas discussed the principles of religion in the dream. Yet Jagannath Mishra was absorbed in unalloyed parental mellows and did not want to know anything else. So I'll read that one again. In this way, Jagannath Mishra and the Brahmana discussed the principles of religion in the dream. Yet Jagannath Mishra was absorbed in unalloyed parental mellows and did not want to know anything else. Being very pleased, the Brahmana left after talking with Jagannath Mishra. And when Jagannath Mishra awakened from his dream, he was very much astonished. He related the dream to his friends and relatives, and every one of them was very much astonished to hear of it. In this way, Gaurahari performed his childhood pastimes and day after day increased the pleasure of his parents. Wow, this is how great listening to the pastimes is of Lord Chaitanya. After some days, Jagannath Mishra inaugurated the primary education of his son by performing the Hayat Galdi ceremony. I think that's right. Within a very few days, the Lord learnt all the letters and combinations of letters. This is a synopsis of the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, placed herewith in chronological order. Vrindavan Das Thakur has already elaborately explained these pastimes in his book Chaitanya Bhagavat. I have therefore made only a brief summary. Being afraid of repetition, I have not elaborated upon this subject matter. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Leela, following in their footsteps. I'm going to read the next one, but maybe not all of it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. I don't know how to say that word. The Lord's Ganda Lila. Ganda Lila. I think that's the right word. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, because simply by offering a flower at his lotus feet, even the most ardent materialist becomes a devotee. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. All glories to Advaita Acharya. All glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Let me now enumerate the activities of the Lord between the ages of 5 and 10. His chief occupation during this period was to engage himself in study. The pastimes of the Lord during his Bhoganda age were very extensive. His education was his chief occupation, and after this his very beautiful marriage took place. When the Lord was studying grammar at the place of Gangadas Pandit, he would immediately learn grammatical rules and definitions by heart, simply by hearing them once. Oh, I wish I was like that when Karuna's teaching me how to sing. He soon became so expert in commentating on the Bhagavad that he could win victory over all the other students, although he was a neophyte. In his book Chaitanya Mangala, which later became Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described the Lord's pastimes of study. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down at the feet of his mother and requested her to give him one thing in charity. His mother replied, "My dear son, I will give you whatever you ask." And then the Lord said, "My dear mother, please do not eat grains on the day of Ekadashi." Okay, that's a bit videy. Mother Sachi said, You have spoken very nicely. I shall not eat grains on Ekadashi. From that day she began to observe fasting on Ekadashi. Okay. Thereafter, seeing that Vishvarupa was a grown-up youth, Jagannath Mishra wanted to find a girl and arrange a marriage ceremony for him. Hearing of this, Vishvarupa immediately left home and went away to accept sannyasi and travel from one place of pilgrimage to another. When Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra heard of this departure of their eldest son, Vishvarupa, they were very unhappy. But Lord Chaitanya tried to console them. My dear mother and father, the Lord said, it is very good that Vishvarupa has accepted the sannyasi order. For this, he has delivered both his father's family and his mother's family. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu assured his parents that he would serve them, and thus the minds of his father and mother were satisfied. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate betel nuts offered to the deity, but they acted as an intoxicant, and he fell down on the ground unconscious. Read that one again. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate betel nuts offered to the deity, but they acted as an intoxicant, and he fell down on the ground unconscious. After his father and mother sprinkled water on his mouth with great haste, the Lord revived and said something wonderful they had never heard before. The Lord said, Vishvarupa took me away from here, and he requested me to accept the sannyasi order. I replied to Vishvarupa, I have my helpless father and mother, and also I am but a child. What do I know about the sannyasi order of life? Later I shall become a householder and thus serve my parents. For this action will be very much satisfied Lord Narayan and his wife, the goddess of fortune. Then Vishvarupa returned home and requested, offer thousands and thousands of obeisances unto my mother Sachi Devi. In this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed various pastimes, but why he did so I cannot understand. After some days, Jagannath Mishra passed away from this world to the transcendental world, and both mother and son were very much aggrieved in their hearts. Friends and relatives came there to pacify Lord Chaitanya and his mother. Then Lord Chaitanya, even though he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, executed the rituals for his dead father, according to the Vedic system. After some days the Lord thought, I did not take sannyasi, and since I am remaining at home, it is my duty to act as a grahastha, householder. Hare Krishna Govind. Without a wife, Lord Chaitanya considered there is no meaning to householder life. Thus the Lord decided to marry. Merely a house is not a home, for it is a wife who gives a home its meaning. If one lives at home with his wife, together they can fulfill all the interests of human life. I think they can do more than that. One day when the Lord was coming back from school, he accidentally saw the daughter of Vallabha Acharya on the way to the Ganga. When the Lord and Lakshmi Devi met, their relationship awakened. Having already been settled, and coincidentally the marriage maker Vanamali came to see Sachimata. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Following the instructions of Sachi Devi, Valimani arranged the marriage, and thus in due course the Lord married Lakshmi Devi. Virendav Das Thakur has elaborately described all these pastimes of the Lord's early age. What I have given here is but a condensed presentation of the same pastimes. The Lord performed many varieties of pastimes in his early age, and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has described them elaborately. I have given but a single hint of these pastimes, for Vrindavan Das Thakur in his book Chaitanya Mangala, now Chaitanya Bhagavat, has described them all vividly, which is what I'm reading in the morning. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Leela, following in their footsteps. That's the end of chapter 15. These pastimes talk about how amazing his life was as a child, and he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it was great how his mother, Sachimata, and Jagannath Mishri, they acted as his parents. These are beautiful pastimes. Thank you very much, Barney, and I'm so hot, I'm really sweating. Hare Krishna, because I'm going to finish now. Thank you, Govind, Meena, Barney, and everybody else who's there. We have Karuna, Janaki, Madhu, and Freddie. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.